this series, we've talked about many key sections that you will have on your resume. Your work experience, your education, awards, a skills summary. You may also want to consider a section on CCAs or extracurricular activities. This section should be modeled off of the work experience section. Don't just list to me irrelevant activities that you've been a part of that aren't related to the job. Think transferable skills. What did I do in this one activity, this one group that I'm part of, that's going to be relevant to the job that I'm applying for? Don't just tell me that you've built houses or schools, because that's probably not too relevant for a corporate or a white-collar job. And just listing to me the activities that you're a member of doesn't do any good at all. So list key bullets, follow the bullet point framework. What's the skills, the tasks, the tools, and most importantly, what are the results and accomplishments that you've had? I also highly suggest that you have a section on hobbies and interests, as employers always want to know what you're like outside of work. So 2 things to keep in mind when you're thinking about your hobbies. First, make sure you list hobbies that you actually are knowledgeable about and interested in, as employers like to use this section to kind of break the ice in an interview. So don't list a hobby such as golf just because it's fashionable if you don't know anything about that. Secondly, careful that you don't put down too many individual activities. So if your hobbies are, reading, poetry, and marathons, there's not a lot of team-based aspects to any of those activities, and employers may get the wrong impression about you. Technical skills, whether around IT or the use of scientific equipment, are also good to mention, but make sure you go beyond just the basics. Don't just list Microsoft Office and email. Do you know how to use Excel and some of the advanced functions like macro programming or VB script? And again, certifications and any kind of professional memberships could be very useful as well. So here are some final tips I want to leave you with. First, make sure you customize and tailor your resume to every single job that you're applying for. Ideally, this means that you should create a separate resume for every single job. Now, practicality-wise, that isn't exactly feasible. I understand that. So what I suggest is that you try to create different versions for different types of roles that you may be interested in. So for example, you might have a marketing version, one catered towards banking, a PR one. But if you're interested in the same function across different industries, then industry versions. One for FMCG, one for high tech, one for the banking industry. Again, what the different industries and roles are looking for are going to be very, very different. So you want to make sure that you tailor your resume to them instead of just sending out one generic resume to all the different roles and companies out there. Then read the job description very carefully. Look for some of the key words that they're stressing the skills, and open up your different versions and tailor the words accordingly. So when it comes to something like leadership, leadership can be represented in words like led, managed, initiated, founded. Now you may use the word led in your resume, but in the job description they talk about the word managed. So guess what word they're going to use when they go into the computer and do a keyword search to list up all the resumes? They're going to use most likely managed. So bring out your resume and do these minor customizations. Change your led to managed, and that way you're going to improve your chances. Finally, put yourself into the shoes of the employer. So once you've done the customization, scan the resume like you think an employer would do, and then ask yourself the question, is the employer going to care about some of the information that you had here? More often than not, you probably listed too much detail that's irrelevant to the job. So try to cut back on those and keep it more succinct. And finally, you've got to have accomplishments, achievements, and results, quantifiable results, right? Numbers really jump out on the page. And without results, there's no way for me to tell as an employer whether your skills are better than your peers. Last, I want to just recap the 3 guiding principles. First, lead with your strengths. The most important information should be as far up on the page and far left as possible. And make sure in your skills summary, you highlight those 4 to 6 most important points, a mixture of both soft skills and hard skills. Number 2, think transferable skills. What have you done in these jobs, these internships, activities, groups that you've been a part of that are really transferable and relevant to the job you're applying for? Again, don't just list what you've done. Don't show me the duties and the responsibilities. Think skills, achievements, and results. And number 3, be consistent. When it comes to your layout, your formatting, within your sections, because these small things really jump out when they're done inconsistently. So don't give employers an excuse to just throw you out like that. Writing a good resume that really stands out is a difficult task, and it's also a highly iterative one. So you can't expect to create something great in just one sitting. Now that you've reached the end of the video series, make sure you go back and watch the clips again. Jump around in the order if you need to. Pause as you go throughout and try to make adjustments and improvements on the fly. If you have any comments or questions about this podcast series, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can find more tips on my blog or through Facebook, following me on Twitter, or via LinkedIn. Thanks for watching and good luck.